Good morning. Welcome to Warriors Peace University, where we don't talk about having it all, we live it. Welcome, everybody in person and online. Want to actually, that have it all lifestyle, just considering that. It's interesting. There's a place where I lost my power, right? Lost my certainty, walked around in a place, especially after the military. Um, just living in that place. Lost power, gave it up to a lot of other men, especially those within the church for me. Got out of the military, kind of gave that up, that power, that certainty inside of that. And that's kind of what we work on here. It's interesting when we talk about having it all. It's one of those places where it's not like a greed thing for me, trying to have it all and obtain more and striving for more. It's this have it all lifestyle. Inside my soul, I know that I'm called to more. Like inside my soul, there's this place where it's telling me, calling out to me, like you were made for more. And so the have it all lifestyle is having it all in each one of these areas. And so we're going to just start touching on some of these other things. Today, want to end up going over the warrior time warp. And so we've talked about this before, but we'll go over the warrior time warp and then just see where conversation leads today on that. Let me see if I can share this iPad. Get rid of. You ready, Andy? Is it on there? Cool. That'll work. See if I can get rid of that. No, if it's good there, Andy, then we're good. Let's see. Go there. There we go. This one works better. Let's see. We'll go with that thickness again. Let's see. Let's try that. Okay. See if I can get it dialed in. Oh, come on. That did not work. Okay. Let's see if this worked. The warrior time warp. Here we go. Okay. Went over. Why is that thing not going away? Always something. There we go. Okay. Warrior time warp. What do we got first? What's this fancy deal here? Power. Good. What's the power come from? Core 4. Awesome. Really gives us that opportunity to connect with God and then operate also within our own power here in reality. Okay. So, and then we have the power and do the fancy rocket with my fuel and fire. What do we got? Production. Production. Good. And as we were talking with that ends up being the door that we talk about, right? The game that we play, the impossible game that we play, right? Main part about what we're doing here is usually this takes 3 to 5 years for somebody to get to where you want to go in playing this. Right?
3 to 5 years for a warrior person, or 3 to 5 years for
3 to 5. Like if God's gonna get us to where he wants us to go. Just takes, like if there's something that we're going after, It's interesting. It takes 3 to 5 years. I've done a lot of just the stuff that I've been doing, and it's been literally about 4 years to get all of this going in a certain direction. Just within the 6 months, 8 months of being in what we're doing, but 6 months of hitting this hard, I've watched more things align in 6 months in my life and transform in a matter of 6 months than what I've seen in 4 years. Like that 4 years, 3, 4, 5 years, it takes time. It takes a lot of time. But if we can condense, if we can close this gap into 12 months, it really comes around, right? And so that's from being very intentional in body, being, balance, and business, right? Very intentional. This is the place where we're being very intentional in these things. Okay. So as we look at this, this warrior time warp, if we can condense these, and we've been doing that, we're end up compressing that time. And so you can see it in the things that we've been doing. What do we end up like for myself? I can clearly see the past years, almost every single year. I have one goal that I'm kind of shooting for. One goal that I step into. Most people, theirs would be stepping into the new year with something about their body. I'm going to go to the gym. Oh, I'm going to do this. This is the one thing I'm going to change. And then 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, then they're already fizzled out, burnt out, and then back to their old habits. I've been implementing something in every single year, but this year obviously is a totally different, right? Totally different than what we've done the past 2 years. And being able to step into the impossible game in each area has been already transformative, right? So that's kind of closing that gap. Anybody else have examples of what's happening? Closing this gap?
Well, it's also, let me see, jump in here. Cool. It's also like giving you an opportunity to see the things that do work and don't work. So that way you can keep what does work and get rid of what's not working and really help close that gap, right? Because, and I'll just go back into just a macro accountant. One of my big focuses this year. Last year, I got great results from it. Got away from it, lost just about everything, all of it, pretty much. But because I do know along the way what was working for me food-wise, what is not going to have to take up so much mental capacity so I can continue to progress throughout the day. All I have to do is just stay hammering in on that and converting a little bit here and there to see if I want to implement something a little different. Not get away from what is working, but keeping this principle because it's getting me to where I want to go. Of the 30 pounds that I picked up from the end of the year, from Halloween to the end of the year, I'm down 15 already because I was sticking with it. So it's like I know the principles that work, so it's just staying in there and just having that mental shift of like, okay, well, that's not working, so let's go ahead and get it out the way because it's just going to get in my way from really getting to where I want to go.
Yeah, which is beautiful. Talking about like even saying getting to where you want to go. And so he's talking about the body part and being able to follow the macros. But as he's doing the macros, then your business that you're doing this year is already different than the years that you've done prior, which you just leveled up and all of that and what is possible for you to be able to do this year.
Oh yeah, that's huge. Even, starting off a new job around the same time, October, and feeling at a place where I am comfortable, not just having difficult conversations, which, in the restaurant world, you kind of shy away from them, which even then at the end of the day, you still go through enough of it, you realize like the problems are all the same. They're just painted different. So you can kind of use the same, back to the same principles to kind of navigate throughout this situation. But essentially, having the comfort and confidence in myself to go out and do these things that I'm even a couple weeks ago, a month ago, I wouldn't be as comfortable doing now, and having no problem doing so.
Yeah. And then still, so that's two goals that he's been driving for. Then also with balance.
All right, let's go down the list.
Yeah.
No,
Just-
100%.
yeah.
One is so my brother is going to be having his child in June. It's going to be my goddaughter, so I'm ecstatic. However, my goddaughter for my cousin, you know, I was her godfather as well. I wasn't very present or very anything, but now it's like even just a text message every morning, and she's super happy. And this is for the first, well, I think one of the first times. She's 10 now, but she likes to sing. She's doing I think it's a concert type deal over at Thrasher Horn. So for the first time, like, you know, now it's like it's not just that I'm aware that it's going on; it's that this is planned for, and this is going because this is going. I'm excited to see her sing because she's so happy and she has a really good voice. So you know, it's awesome. But even just, you know, being closer with the family as well, committing that time, like it's something as small as dinner or movie night with the family. You know, obviously, if family goes on, you know, you kind of get busy and drawn up in other things, but it's still like we like to sit and watch a movie together, and we like to eat and we like to watch stuff. So it's like, you know, why don't we do it together so we can enjoy that time together? And we did it a couple weeks ago, and I think even my dad was here. And this is for the first time I think I saw my dad kind of watch the majority of a movie without passing out the majority of it. So it was like really nice to everybody be engaged in that moment. And then I think being is the last one. I know I started off the year kind of wanting to dedicate just quiet time to God, just kind of slow and listen. That's kind of evolved to it's me. So I listen to the gospel in the morning. Then before I go to bed, I'll ask ChatGPT, give me the principles that are within this chapter of the gospel. Then I'll ask it to give me a prayer that reflects that right there, so I can say that before I go into a quiet meditation time, before I throw in a prayer stack.
Nice.
So that's what that's evolved to.
It's being very intentional. Very intentional.
And now it's just like I see the clock. Like last night, it was like 9:17, and I'm like, I gotta get ready. I gotta go because it's about that
Lay
time.
that out.
Yep. So it's like,
Yeah, that's beautiful. Huge difference to be able to close the gap from where he is currently right now and where he's getting called to, and knowing that, and then being able to close that in all areas of his life. And that doesn't just happen by accident. It's very intentional. Yeah, that's really good. And so that is a perfect example of being able to close that gap over time. And that's why we end up doing it in this way, right? Right. Good. What else? What else you think? What do you got, Craig? What do you think about the time warp?
I think the time warp is spot on. I mean, you know, even if you don't make all four in 12 months, even if you make two or one and then continue forward. And I'm not saying that's what it is, but it's definitely like Andy, you know, was talking. It's all about, you know, being intentional, staying intentional, you know, and then like, you know, so my Bible study this morning was, you know, that there's times, you know, when you stumble, when you're dying to your old self to come your new self, there's always stumbles, you know, there's always stumbles, and you can't let that judgment, you know, or guilt or shame, you know, carry you on for days, but you have to hand that to him and know that you've already started building that relationship, and nothing or no one can separate that relationship that you're building with God, right? So you have to hand that guilt and shame to him and then continue forward with your path. It doesn't give you the pass to go do whatever you want, but it gives you the pass to know that he still got you. He's still in this relationship, and that stand back up and pick up yourself and move towards the new you that you're evolving to be. And I think that's important, sometimes, because there are times that, you know, um, I do stumble in that. So there's been a lot of growth spiritually, for me. The, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not a bragger. I'm never going to be that guy. But by going through this, I don't want to go away from God for a second, but if you go back and look, there's wins in every single one of those areas that would have not have been wins had I not been here and devoting some intentional work to each one of those.
Mm-hmm.
But it is right. You measure, right? I think it was Andy or you or said it earlier. If you don't measure, you don't know. It's just like running your life like a business. You're going to have to cut weight. You're going to have to cut the dead weight.
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to cut the dead weight? That's the thing, because it can't all come with you. What's important, and then you shed that off, and then you keep moving forward. Because whether it's food, whether it's a type of customer you're pursuing in business, or in your balance wise, I mean, everybody can't come because not everybody's on the same path. Doesn't mean anything that you hate them or don't like them or whatever. It's just you're on a different path, and that's what you believe. So that's where I'm going, right? So people will come in and out of that path, but I'm still going on this path.
Yeah.
And the most intriguing thing to me this year coming in is business. So we're really going to see what we can maximize rolling into that, through this year. So last year was a huge win. So this year, if we double that, it'll be a huge win again. So,
Yep.
And that's this program,
And that's the thing, is we're talking about the business. What makes that possible is staying consistent in the others, right?
Yep.
Being able to stay consistent in the body, being able to still gain power from the being in the balance so that you can crush it in business, right? If we lose our power chasing after business, and we lose the power and the connection from our being and our body and the balance itself, then really that's not a success, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, mental health wise, balance was the biggest win, but the only thing that I really stepped out of scarcity with was business. I guess that's what I need to say. I wasn't scared of body. I wasn't scared of being. I wasn't scared of balance, but the risk taken in business, once you cross that threshold, you're in, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of like for me, y'all, for those of you, Andy and Nathan, Daniel, and you guys saw the Kobe results, I'm very much a planner. I am not a huge risk taker, as far as like when it comes to doing things. So that was my big risk that I've stepped into and continue to step into now. Right. So.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Yeah. Stepping out. All faith, no fear.
We're there.
Daniel, was you going to say something?
I can say some things. Is this on? Can you hear me? Just an observation here in Andy talk. All of us OGs fell off during the holidays. I was on fire prior to the holidays. I was knocking out a benchmark a day. And the holidays hit. Everything went to hell. You gained 20 pounds. I lost 15 pounds. I say this year we cancel the holidays.
No
No holidays for Warriors
holidays.
Peace.
No holidays.
We'll give Christmas a couple hours that morning, and that's it.
Christmas is over.
So we don't repeat that, because this, being a history of alcoholism and addiction, all addicts fall off during the holidays.
It's tough.
It's a tough season.
But you've came back with fire.
Hmm?
You've came back with fire, dedication,
I'm
discipline.
ready to go. It's the last year has been enormous just by waking up. You know, I didn't go back to sleep over the holidays. I went back to my addiction, but it sucked because I was still awake the entire time. I'm drinking knowing this is the stupidest thing I could possibly be doing. So I wasn't like back to sleep thinking that this is okay. I could just start drinking again. It was painful to drink.
Oh, that's awesome.
But
only God can do that.
Yeah. I mean, Body Being Balanced in Business,
Yeah,
everything
right.
improved over
I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop sharing this.
Yeah. We might be seeing our faces.
Yeah. There we go.
Body Being Balanced in Business, everything improved over the past year. My shoulders, I mean, when I'm wearing my shoulder brace again because I quit working out, quit doing physical therapy. I'm going through the fact map now. And just the awareness of the things. You know, I'm a CFO of a corporation, have been for 26 years. I thought I really had a grasp on prioritizing and planning and organizing and all of that. When I sit down and do the fact map, I realize I'm just operating day by day. I'm just reacting to whatever the hell's in front of my face. Like sit down last night, I picked up gardening as a hobby instead of drinking. So I'm working on some plants. I got to make dinner. I got to do the dishes. I got to do some laundry. I got to feed the dog, feed the cat, get the kids in the tub. I got to do my Warriors Peace stuff. And I found myself, is this urgent and important? Urgent, not important? Urgent, not urgent? And I'm going through the list. I'm like, everything's got to stop. I'm doing Warriors Peace. It's the only thing that's urgent and important. Got to meet with Braylon in the morning. And I was able to prioritize last night. So instead of staying up till 4 o'clock in the morning, like I normally do, trying to get everything knocked out, I did Warriors Peace, went to bed at midnight. So I got four extra hours of sleep that I don't normally get.
Nice.
Because I was able to take one of the skills I learned in this program over the past year and implement it for the first time. It took me a year to implement it, but I finally implemented it instead of gardening and doing laundry. But that applies across the whole arena. The core four, having that in the forefront of your mind every single day, especially in balance. Balance took off last year. Being intentional to do 2 things a day for my wife and children, those relationships just flourished. So it just, like it goes back to the prioritizing thing. If I'm not thinking about investing or making daily deposits into my family and into my wife and kids, I'm not going to do it.
Yep.
Because I'm just going to get busy and I'm not going to do it. Not that I don't want to do it.
Right.
I just get busy and I forget about it. I start gardening, doing laundry or whatever, and I forget that I need to go spend time with my son for 30 minutes, whatever it may be.
Yep.
So it's the little skills, the little tools I've learned over the last year are just monumental. And as far as the time warp, praise God, it's a time warp. I'm 47 years old.
Yeah.
I've pissed away so much time and so much money over these years. I was talking to my wife recently. I really got nothing to show for it. I own some land, but I should have a bank account as big as the sky by this point. And I just don't, because I have not been intentional with or had a plan of what I'm going to do with all this success.
Yep.
I just pissed it away. So, thank God it's a time work, because now I can make up for those years that I have just wasted.
Yeah. I truly believe like God is able to close those gaps like that. It's taken me, the culture has driven me a certain way to be for 40 plus years, and then being very intentional. I think 2 things: very intentional, very consistent. And then now being able to be very directed inside of what we're doing. It like God can transform all of that quickly. So, beautiful. Thanks that was an awesome share. Thank you. What are you getting, Trey? What do you think? What do you feel?
Uh, I don't know. Same as always, man. I mean, I agree with just about everything that's been said. Really, um, I know Andy when you're talking about things that you learn, that you do better with that you realize what works and what fails. Um, I think there's definitely a lot of truth to that. Especially whenever you change it up for the better, like especially like a program like this, as everybody knows, this is only my fourth day. So, but just in these 4 days, I can see like a shift, just like in my habits and like how I kind of feel throughout the day. Uh, like getting up early, 4 a.m., coming here, working out, um, seeing y'all, everybody's real cool. Then having these conversations and everything, and just having a better understanding of everything. I feel like it's definitely working. So like, that's what I was saying about Andy. Like, and you're talking about macros, but I think it can kind of be applied to everything. You kind of see what works, what doesn't work, and you go from there and you make the best possible decisions you can.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and this is a great decision. So yeah, I feel great.
It's good. Like what you're talking about, it can be learning one thing, like pointing out, Andy, learning something in macros. You start learning those experiences in one part, and you can shift and utilize that in so many other parts, in all the other parts of life. It's unreal. My suffering within the drinking and being able to consciously wake up and see rather than operating from one place, being able to see and operate how my mind's working, how my emotions are driving me. Just learning that from not drinking and following that path. Now I can do that in all areas of my life. Huge difference than the way I operated before. And so it's in so many areas, being able to shift. One of the biggest things though is being able, what we're doing, being consistent, being intentional. All of these things need to be all this daily power, all this daily production, literally having the opportunity to ensure that we get to the impossible goal. So having the opportunity to realize, like, this is exactly where I'm at. This is factually where I'm at, not living in a place of fiction. Factually, this is where I'm at, and this is where God has taken me. And the work that I'm doing on a daily basis is filled with purpose, passion, structure, and accountability, bringing clarity and responsibility, and being able to get me to my impossible game, right? And so that's one of the biggest things, being able to navigate and learn what's working or not. My mind this week, the biggest thing is trying to, I have a huge goal of, I have a desire to get better at arm wrestling. But there's a place where I want to be jacked and shredded. It's like, okay, cool, and flexible. Like, I want all of the impossible pieces. I want to be jacked and shredded, which is impossible, and flexible, which is impossible. And then I want to be strong and being able to arm wrestle. They were starting to conflict on Monday, and I could see for the first time, like, truly, if I'm cutting weight and taking in a low, like I was on a fast, but the plan was to be very low in carbs or very low across the board in all of my calories. Like, I was feeling very, very weak. And so having to choose. And so I had to choose literally what goal was more important. Okay. I want to win in arm wrestling. That has been the overall, like, whole deal. I want to get better. And so now this next week and this next monthly mission is going to have to shift a little bit. And I'm going to end up setting a higher priority for the arm wrestling, and then still trying to maintain and see what my diet's going to be. Because I said the weight could be 220, but then balancing, like, seeing what that 9%, like how extreme I'm going to have to chase after that, I think is going to be a little bit different. It's going to have to be less extreme. So still maintaining 220 or below 220, definitely the strength and the flexibility, all those things. But being able to adjust, what am I really shooting for? Anybody else got experiences? What are you learning?
The same deal with the adjustment. It's sometimes you put something on paper and you're like, all right, I can do that. But it's just like, okay, so what has to go? Kind of what is it that is going to be more important? I think yes, or last week, or it might have been this week. But there's total problem with a project that's going on. So typically Wednesdays are days that I'll go out. Mondays and Wednesdays are days I'll go door knocking. That door knocking paled in comparison to a problem that trust issues that we're having at this homeowner's house. So obviously I have to is getting hitting 150 doors or 240 doors going to be more important than assuring that I'm doing the best of my ability to show up for that customer? Hell no. So I have to adjust that. I have to make the decision like what's going to be more important here. And if it's there in business, it's going to have to be in balance in body and being as well.
Yeah.
What's going to get me to that result? Like if it's going to be having stronger, closer connections with the family, what do I have to toss aside for now? And knowing that, okay, so if I have to pour in a little bit of more time here, it doesn't mean that within the year I can't close that gap and try to still make sure that I get to where I'm wanting to go.
Yeah.
But keeping that perspective of what's urgent and important and knowing that it's going to be a day-by-day thing.
Yeah.
Because if we could do it that way, if we structure it out day by day, then we have no problem showing up as our best consistently.
It's good. It's good. What else we got? Anything else, Craig, on that?
It's a constant. That's how you evolve, right? It's a constant state of adjustment. If you're intentional and you're looking at it, and it's just like Andy said, things are going to happen, but it's about what you need to get done, and then about how to navigate life with that. So an example, for me would be, Monday. What day is it now? It's Thursday. So I guess it was Monday or Tuesday. Meemaw went in the hospital to have a surgery, and Dina's car was at the dealership. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Dina's car was at the dealership, and so I just didn't have time that day to go get Dina's car from the dealership before they closed. It just didn't work out. Yeah, and navigate between me and Abby and her in school and stuff. But so she was aggravated about that. That I didn't stop everything that I was doing to go get her car at the dealership. And but we had it. It wasn't like we're out of vehicle. We're driving Meemaw's car, right? It's just not her car. I get it, but I was like, hey, it's just going to have to be tomorrow. It's just not going to happen. I'm not going to make it before the dealership closes. It's just not working out. So, but she was very aggravated with me about that. I just needed you to do one thing. I'm like, well, I know, and I'm going to do that one thing. It's not like you're walking to work tomorrow. Was my thing. I was like, we'll get it. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, needless to say, the car, it all got taken care of the next day, but I just wasn't able to adjust my schedule to add that in at that time. Now, if it would have been like an urgent, like, we were without a vehicle and I'm going to have to drive her everywhere tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah. It'd have been a different story, so
yeah.
I don't know how that ties into Andy, but that was just on my mind. But I was just like how she got aggravated, but I stayed true to my plan for that day, and that was the same day I got all my discover and declares done, everything else done, because I was just on path to make everything happen. But
the lesson you learned is that anything with the wife is urgent and important.
In her perspective, yes, and as we know here, sometimes that can or cannot derail your path, your mission. So
Yeah. Yeah. The tough choices.
yeah, right. I almost had to sleep in the shop. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. It's good. So, um, yeah, very, very good. Cool. What else we got? Anything? We can start closing it out.
I was gonna say, and this is totally off topic, but I'm glad if I get in trouble, I can still sleep in my own bed. So that's cool.
True. True.
Well, cool. Well, we'll start closing it out with this. The impossible game, like what we're really shooting for in the impossible game is we want, right? In reality, we want to be able to be succeeding at things, getting jobs done, whatever, reaching this impossible game. But again, being able to stay connected to the heart through this, connected to God, really knowing your identity, knowing whose you are and who you are inside of that, staying consistent, staying grounded, connected inside of your identity is huge. And inside of that, knowing whose you are and who you are now and what you're getting called to, and this expansion process that is happening over time. When you get to that impossible goal, you are not the same guy. You're just not. It's called the impossible game because it's impossible for the guy who you are right now. And if we stay inside this karma cul-de-sac, this change that we're trying to do ends up never really being anything. But as we transform and we're literally tracking this progress of transformation and dying to yourself and expanding into this new version of yourself that you're operating from. That's what's happening over being very intentional and very consistent. And this is why most of the people, they're just not willing to put in the work. It's not that they don't know, they just are too stuck in their lies to be able to actually factually be honest where they're at and get to where they need to go, where they're actually getting called to go. You men know this takes very intentional work, very intentional every single day. So when people sit there, yeah, I get it. I'm like, bro, we are not playing the same game. We're not. I absolutely know that I am not playing the same game as them anymore. And the difference is, the huge difference that exposes that is I can clearly see they talk and I put in the work. They may sound intelligent, but they're doing really stupid shit, not getting to their goals. And I consistently show up and put in work every single day. That's a clear difference. They're not willing to do it. They're not consistent and they're not intentional. Totally different game, especially when you start pairing body, being, balance, and business and the goals that we're called to and all those things. What you got?
Let's put one of the key aspects of, I don't know if it's the door, the game, the hot list, the hit list. I'm not there in the training yet, but we all have in our mind a place we would like to be, but we don't have a map to get there, and we don't have very specific minutia goals, steps to get there. You know, when you've got your 4 things a day, is that the hot list?
Hit list.
When you've got your 4 things a day across body, being, balance, and business, and if you just knock out one of them that day, you've made progress. If you didn't have that simple little list, like polish your shoes today, you know, you wouldn't have polished your shoes. You'd be walking into work with shit looking shoes.
Yeah.
That one's just that simple reminder. Today I need to send a text to my wife. Today I need to read John chapter 13. Today I need to do some physical therapy or take my TRT. And today I need to call the attorney about such and such at work. If I knock out all 4 of those things, I have made more progress in that single day than I would normally make in a week.
Yeah.
because it was intentional and it was directed towards a very specific goal across those 4 domains.
Yep.
And that's people are not playing that game
They try to do 20 some in one day.
in one day, and they don't achieve any of it.
They don't achieve nothing. Then they're exhausted and lost and then going in a different direction tomorrow.
Last 46 years of my life.
Yeah. This
And
one.
that, dude, that's the beauty, bro. That's so beautiful. Yeah, because I was there with you, for so many, years, and just cruising along. I'd get stuff done, yeah, but it wasn't any real rhyme or reason or structure to it, and it didn't. If I didn't get it done, whatever, it would just pile up in the background. You're just asleep to it. But definitely the laying out, and it's important to realize not to, because I think you're the same way. You may have 4 things a day you're trying to do, but you're a man probably like yourself is thinking, I got a million things to do today, but if you get those 4, it puts my mind at ease. I'm like, oh, today was a win. Anything else is just icing for today. Yep. But I got my 4, whatever they were, that I planned when I planned out that week, so that's the beauty of it. And in the end, a week from now, a month from now, whatever, 90 days from now, 6 months from now, those little deposits, that's your chart, right? Straight up, versus the old way. This is you. Before warrior, following warrior.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah, same. True.
Yeah, prioritizing. I thought I was good at it until I started doing warrior, and realized I really suck at it. I told my wife last night, we men are task oriented. If there's a problem in front of our face, that's the most important problem in the entire world. No matter what it is.
Doesn't matter what it is.
I got a plant today. That fucking plant needs to be planted.
Yeah. And the whole world could be falling apart.
Screw my laundry. Yeah. Screw payroll tomorrow. I got a new plant. It needs to be planted.
100%.
This plant's got to go now. Yeah.
When I first started, and it was the 4 simple little things a day, I'm like, that's bullshit. I got to do 1,000 things a day. 4 little things. This is a joke.
It is.
God, I wish I could just do those 4 things. If I could just hit those 4, I'd be soaring in life.
Yep.
But no, I got to worry about this plant and this sock I found on the ground because for my kid, I need to reprimand the kid. Everything's important. Everything's a dumpster fire in front of my face until I see my list and I'm like, wait a minute, I need to do Warriors piece. That's what's.
It's crazy, but it's beautiful because again, we are the ones that get to point that out. And there's one part of, I got to do a monthly mission every single month, Andy, that being able to do the monthly mission every single month, or it's being able this next time to be able to dial in and master myself more and more this next month. Like, do I really want to do it? I'm going to have to do 12 of those this next year. But again, already learning the way this month operated, I was operating from, and then being able to tweak that and then be more intentional in the next month is absolutely exciting for me. So already I'm like, am I going to set it up on Saturday? Am I going to set it up on Sunday?
And I can see the growth potential in it. Yeah, in the beginning, it's a lot of work, and especially brain work.
Mm-hmm.
And you think, but really, it takes one day. You got to do it 12 times. That's 12 days over the course of a year. You got to commit to this. And each month, it's only going to get easier because you're going to get better at it.
It goes faster. Yep.
It sounds daunting in the beginning, but I can see a year from now, I'm like, that's nothing. I can do this in an hour.
Be awesome.
Just listening to y'all, I think the biggest things, one, it's the hit list, the to-dos that you set for yourself in all 4: body, being, balance, and business. And over time, well, not over time, but being able to prioritize each one in your day as days go on. That's
Mhm.
an amazing program. And why didn't we think of this 30 years ago?
God,
Right. It's been staring us in the face the whole time.
that's good. How has this not been made before?
Right. It's not simple, but if you think about it, it really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did the to-do list. I've got post-it notes over the years of my life everywhere in my house. All the to-dos. Walking in my bathroom with like 50 post-it notes. I haven't done any of them. My wife's like, that's been up there for 3 years. When they got down there.
At this point, you're cleaning them, dusting them off, right?
So now
Or put new ones over
what
the
he
top
needs
of it.
what he needs to do is then just reassess and then put all of those, like as you look at that, put it in on your hot list and take it down. Or just take it down and don't put it on your
Right.
hot.
You think
Not urgent, not important.
Not urgent, not important.
Gone.
I think I'm going to got this post-it note on my phone. Call the vet, call the doctor, what's the other one? Call my cardiologist, and get the walkie-talkie case from work. I put this in there Sunday night. I haven't done any of it.
Like
Not one single item on that list have I done.
yeah, put them in on the hot list and then
That's funny.
out and then be good. So very awesome. What a good week. I can't believe it's already went so fast again. January is basically over for us. As we start filling out the next monthly mission, I think we are off 1 week. If you guys are able to adjust it, do it this week, adjust it back to this Monday. So it'll close out this Sunday. It'll open up on this next Monday. And then we should be able to start that next month. I think we had put it in for February, something else, 1 more week. So just go ahead and do it this weekend, okay? And just adjust the time in there,
So
the dates. So it should be good.
what you're saying is that 0 week wasn't really 0 week.
Well, that 0 week was a 0 week. But that 0 week was a 0 week. It just ended up when we counted it, we actually didn't count it as a 0 week and we pushed it on down further. We should have started this one. So this will be good. So when you go in this weekend, you're just going to hit a plus on your monthly missions, which will give you a second monthly mission and you'll be able to fill that out. And so that'll get that going. Beautiful. Nice. Time warp, man. This next year, what are you literally seriously going to be able to get done in this next year and just warp that next 3 to 5 years? Jumping in, Craig, like you did in business, setting that stuff up last year, really taking the risk to be able to do that this next year. That puts you already 2-3 years ahead of where you should even be. And what is this year? How much is that going to propel you forward another 3 to 5 years, what you can get done this year?
Yeah. And I just, let me just end with this, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So this doesn't happen without God.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other way that I can explain what went on. Okay. The one that dumpster business, I know nothing about dumpsters. I know a lot now. I was not in construction. I was not a builder or anything else. Okay. That's the craziest part. I met Daryl at your men's event night. Daryl was my first customer. I use Daryl every week just about now, still to this day. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Mike Moody. I knew Mike before Raylan, but I didn't get to know Mike until here. Mike uses me, from time to time. I wouldn't have that without this. You see what I'm saying? That's the crazy path that God took to get me there. Now, since then, we've added this customer and that customer, and we're doing a business, right? But I'm saying that only happened because God facilitated that to happen. There's no other way for me to explain that. He walked me here. He walked me to Warriors Peace. He walked me to that men's event where I spoke, and then that led to Daryl coming up to me, and then, Mike reaching out to me. Hey, I got some overloads, can you go do this? That doesn't happen
Yeah.
without God. And that's the only thing I can tell you to explain. It'd be different if I opened up some, IT company, where I knew what I was doing. Yeah. But it's not. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
For anybody listening to this podcast, if you're listening to this podcast, it's because God walked you into it. I was not looking for this group. I was not looking for this program. I didn't know I needed it. I didn't want it. You had presented me this program before I walked into this airplane hangar. I would have walked right out of this airplane hangar.
Yeah.
I was looking for some dudes to work out with. That was it. That was all I needed in life. Was to be sick of working out alone. And here I am a year later, changing my life and changing my family's life and leaving a legacy, everything else that's going to come from this. So if you're here, God brought you here. Keep walking in.
Yeah. Keep stepping in. Beautiful, man. What a beautiful week. And let's step into February. You guys, you men have accomplished a lot this month, just with the intensity that you've stepped in and the consistency. Those two right there have been absolutely amazing. So way to close out this month, stepping into February, very intentional. Stay in it. Cool. Good stuff. Right on. That Brandon, you pray us out?
Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for this week. Thank you for Warriors Peace and everything that has brought light to us. Let us live in your path. Keep guiding us down the road of gains and the importance of the impossible. You will show the way. I know it for each and every one of us. Keep us strong. Keep us healthy. All of our families. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Go out and conquer the day with Christ, man.
Later,
Supper
fellas.
in the ice bath tomorrow together.
No fear, all faith.
Yeah.